yeah, I think a little bit of the off the ball stuff. Like, I think mostly on dead balls. Like, I'm the best. I think I'm the best transition player in the league. That's where I thrive. Everybody knows that's my game. So,
the world of professional sports is built on moments. Jordan in the 90s, Tiger in the early 2000s, global superstars who transcend their sport entirely. But what we're witnessing right now with the Indiana Fever, this isn't just a moment. This is a total overhaul of the WNBA's media landscape. When the 2026 schedule dropped, it didn't ripple. It hit 44 games, every matchup from the season opener to the final buzzer of the regular season, on national television. Think about what that means. This was a league where you had to hunt for a stream, where you hoped your cable provider picked up the feed, where you were left in the dark unless you lived in the team's city. That era is dead, buried, and in its place stands a brand new reality, the Caitlin Clark economy. This isn't just about the Indiana Fever. This is about the networks, the broadcasting giants, looking at the data and realizing something simple. If they aren't showing Caitlin Clark, they're losing millions of dollars and millions of eyeballs every single night. The WNBA has caught lightning in a bottle, and they are doing everything in their power to keep that bottle open. But let's get real. Let's talk about the raw, unfiltered pressure of 44 consecutive primetime games. When you're the most watched team in league history, you become everyone's Super Bowl. Every opponent is going to treat a game against the Indiana Fever like it's Game 7 of the finals. They want to be the ones to take down the queen. They want to shut down the Caitlin Clark show. Imagine being a defender in this league. You spend your whole week watching film on Clark. You're drilling footwork so you don't get crossed up at the logo. You're running through high-screen coverages until your legs give out. Every single team is coming with playoff-level energy. That's a double-edged sword. On one hand, the product is electric, more exciting than anything we've seen in decades. On the other, it's physically and mentally brutal for the Fever. 44 games at that intensity is a grind unlike anything women's basketball has ever seen. We saw the growing pains last year, the injuries, the moments where chemistry looked off and rotations were a step slow. But that was the learning curve, the trial by fire. Now we're past that. The expectations have shifted from, let's see what she can do, to bring us a championship, or it's a failure. That is the burden of greatness. Let's talk about the roster. Or look at the chemistry developing around Clark. Watch the training camp footage. Listen to how the players talk about each other. There's something there that wasn't before. When you have veterans who understand the assignment, who lock in on both ends, who don't need the spotlight, the team starts moving like a single organism. The viral moments, the locker room energy, the camaraderie, that isn't just social media fluff. That is championship culture being built in real time. And Clark herself has been crystal clear. She is not here to be a media sensation. She is here to win. She's been vocal about her recovery, about treating her body like a temple, about approaching this 44-game marathon the right way. The diet changed, the workout routine changed, the recovery protocols changed. She knows that if she goes down, the entire engine stalls, and she's not willing to let that happen. She is the MVP of the WNBA's business model right now, and she knows it. Let's not forget, the New York Liberty and the Las Vegas Aces aren't rolling over for anybody. These are veteran-heavy, championship-caliber organizations that have been at the top of the mountain for a long time. They look at the Fever getting all the hype, all the commercials, all the magazine covers, and they use it as fuel. The rivalry is going to be intense. We are going to see some of the most physical basketball this league has ever produced, and that is exactly what the fans want. We want the intensity. We want the rivalries. We want the superstars rising to the moment. That's the magic of 2026. Every game feels like a marquee event. And with national TV amplifying every storyline by a factor of 10, there is literally nowhere to hide. Fever lose? The national media spends 24 hours dissecting what went wrong. Fever win? They get analyzed for their dominance. Every night is a referendum. Every game is a headline. Now let's talk money, because the business side of this is equally fascinating. The networks aren't just betting on Caitlin Clark, they're betting that the ratings floor for any Fever game is higher than the ratings ceiling for any other game in the league. That is an enormous statement. but it is one supported by hard numbers. The viewership data, the jersey sales, the arena attendance figures. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't a marketing term anymore. It's an economic reality that is changing the valuation of every single WNBA franchise. Now, if the Fever succeed, if they make a deep playoff run and keep these ratings elevated, the WNBA is positioned to negotiate the most lucrative broadcasting rights deal in the history of women's sports. We're talking about a transformation of salary structures, facilities, training environments, and the overall prestige of the league. The next few months could determine the financial future of the entire WNBA for the next decade. No exaggeration. Enough business. Let's get back to the hardwood. Tactically, the Fever need to evolve. Last year, there was too much reliance on Clark creating something out of nothing. In 2026, we need more ball movement, more off-ball cutting, more players stepping up to take the pressure off the primary playmaker. The coaches know this. Film sessions are clearly focused on diversifying the attack. Expect more dribble drive penetration, more pick-and-roll variations, and a much more efficient transition offense. But here's what I really want to talk about. Defense. Everyone wants to talk about the logo threes. Everyone wants to talk about the half-court shots. But championships are won on the defensive end. The Fever need to be a top 5 defensive team if they want to hold that trophy. They need to switch effectively, communicate on the back line, and rebound. Clean up the glass, limit second-chance points. And this team becomes a nightmare. Defense wins championships. It has always been true. It will always be true. There's one game that sets the tone before any of the others matter. The season opener against the New York Liberty at Barclays Center. The Liberty are the standard bearers of this league right now. I'm going into their house on opening night with every eye in the country watching. That is a statement game. If the Fever hold their own, the momentum is unstoppable. If they struggle, if they get blown out, the critics will be deafening. This is the litmus test. Watch that game like a hawk. Watch the defensive sets. Watch how the Liberty try to neutralize Clark in the first half. Watch how the Fever respond when things get hard. That first game will tell you everything you need to know about whether this is a pretender squad or a genuine championship contender. Think about the psychological weight of what these players are carrying. When you're the most talked about athlete in the country, when your face is on every advertisement, when your name is trending every morning, how do you stay grounded? How do you keep your focus on film study, on fundamentals, on the next play? That's where the coaching staff becomes everything. They are the buffer. They protect the team from the noise. They keep the focus on the next practice, the next play, the next game. If they lose that discipline, if the ego and the hype seep into the locker room, the whole thing unravels fast. And we have to ask, how do the other players on the Fever handle it? Some players thrive in the spotlight. Some prefer to operate under the radar. A 44-game national TV schedule leaves no room for anyone to mentally check out. This is a test of the team's collective mental toughness, not just Clark's. Here's what nobody is talking about enough: the fans. This is a completely new breed of WNBA fan. 2 years ago, some of these people didn't even know when the season started. Now they're debating defensive schemes on Reddit, analyzing shooting percentages on X, watching every practice clip for hints about the starting lineup. That is what sports fandom is supposed to look like. That is obsession. That is investment. And the WNBA is finally feeding that obsession at scale. The schedule exhaustion is real, the back-to-backs are brutal, and the travel grind is unforgiving. But for the fans, every night is must-watch TV. Every night is an event. And the teams that manage energy the smartest, the ones who know when to push and when to conserve, those are the teams who will be standing in June. Let me give you some historical context, because it matters here. When the NBA was struggling in the late 70s and early 80s, who saved it? Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. They didn't just bring talent. They brought rivalry, personality, and drama that made the game must-see television. The NBA went from a league in crisis to the most popular sports product in the world. We are in a parallel moment right now. Caitlin Clark is the Magic and the Bird rolled into one. She has the vision, the shooting, the flair, and the competitive fire that makes people stop what they're doing and watch. She is doing for the WNBA exactly what Magic and Bird did for the NBA. She is not just elevating the game. She is saving it, transforming it, and pushing it into a new stratosphere. And the critics who say it's too much hype? Look at the facts. Look at the momentum. You can't stop progress. The WNBA becoming a global force isn't a question of if, it's a question of when. And 2026 might be the year that answers that question definitively. Why is this happening now? Why 2026 specifically? It's the convergence of three things: technology, social media, and a once-in-a-generation talent. In the old days, you had to be in the arena to appreciate the nuances of a player's game. Now, highlight clips go global within seconds. Deep dive analytical channels break down every tactical decision. A fan base more informed and more engaged than any in women's basketball history has formed practically overnight. This digital ecosystem is the perfect habitat for a superstar like Clark to explode. And the networks have noticed, traditional appointment viewing is dying, except for live sports. And among live sports, the ones generating the most engagement, the most social conversation, and the most brand loyalty are the ones with compelling personalities at the center. Clark isn't just a player. She's a brand, a storyteller, a cultural force. That's why the networks are going all in. Is it fair that the Fever get all the coverage? There are other teams, other amazing players, other storylines that deserve attention. And that's a legitimate question. But here's the reality. The Caitlin Clark effect is a tide that lifts all boats. When people tune in for Clark, they get exposed to the rest of the league. They learn the other stars. They become fans of the sport, not just of one player. And that's the goal. That's how you turn a niche product into a mainstream juggernaut. Before we wrap up, I want to say something that doesn't get talked about enough. Think about the girls watching this. Think about what they're seeing. On a player who isn't just an elite shooter, but a great leader, a great teammate, and a great ambassador for the game. They see that they can dream big, that they can strive for greatness, that they can be part of something that matters. That is the true legacy of this moment. Not the TV ratings, not the jersey sales, not the broadcasting deals. It's the next generation of athletes who are watching Caitlin Clark right now and deciding that they want to do that too. That's bigger than basketball. That's culture shifting in real time. So here's where we are. 44 games, national television, the entire weight of a league's transformation on one team's shoulders. The most physically grueling, psychologically demanding, commercially consequential season in the history of women's basketball. Is it too much? Maybe. Will there be bumps? Absolutely. Will there be stretches where the Fever struggle, where the shots aren't falling, where the critics get loud? Count on it. But here's what I know. We are living through something rare, something that doesn't come around often. A sport, a moment, a player, and a cultural zeitgeist all colliding at exactly the right time. We're watching the tectonic plates of women's sports shift in real time. The Fever are ready. The league is ready. The fans are ready. Caitlin Clark? She's already adjusting her sneakers, fixing her ponytail, and stepping onto the court with that calm, locked-in focus. The look of someone who knows exactly what she's about to do. Watch the preseason. Watch the body language. Watch the hustle plays and the defensive rotations and the little things that never show up in a box score. And that's where the championship DNA gets built. That's where the real story of the 2026 season is written. 44 games, all eyes, no hiding. Let's go.